Trevor Bauer, in his third start in the Dodger uniform, he struck out 10 in each of the first two, and now the Santa Clarita native who grew up coming to games here, sitting in the pavilion, listening to Vin Scully on the earbuds. Sitting second to the homestand for Chris Taylor, and just like that, they lead 2-0.
Could easily be back to back to back if Mookie Betts gets his ball a little higher in the air at 107 off the bat. This one from Chris Taylor. Just enough.
To C.J. Cron at first. He'll run to the bag, and a good comeback after the two infield hits by Jhoulys Chacín.
Garrett Hampson coming up.
To the outside corner to get strike three. Trevor Bauer with his 8th K. That is Story. All-star shortstop. Bouncing ball left side. Seager's there. A 1-2-3-6 for Trevor Bauer. It's the last pitch of last inning. Trevor Bauer for the first time in the regular season goes to the one eye.
Pleasure to be joined by one of the top lightweights on the planet. He returns to action on May 15th, UFC 262, highly anticipated fight against Beneil Dariush. He's the one and only Tony Ferguson. Tony, how are you? Long time no speak.
Or something like this, it's crazy. You wouldn't have a sport or Dana even putting it out there, and it makes it interesting to have these fights. So now you have May 15th, right? May 16th.
15th.
15th, and now you got a new belt that's up
that you had for so many years.
Well, they never saw me lose, for one. I mean, it probably took a lot of heat. You know, some of the things that came out of the mouth, like throw some sand and stuff. It's kind of a lot, and it's kind of an ego crusher when it comes down to it. The shops, people were doing a lot of things, man, that they couldn't control because of a lot of things that we couldn't control. So I've had coaches that wouldn't take any more tests, like COVID tests. So that was out of, like, you know, no, not really, right? Because you have all the knowledge that you need. And so what you do is you go out there in the real world and you use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You demonstrate what you learned, paid for it, and you go out there and you use it. It's the same thing. It's no different with coaches, and it's no different with training. Compromise. I went and hit pads, Ariel. I hit pads to get my arm better and figure out what was wrong. And you know what the funny thing is? You know what I learned out of both those losses, Ariel? It would have taken a little bit longer, but we made that happen. When there was gaps, we filled them. And you know, if my team wasn't there, I went into battle knowing that I had the carnal knowledge to be able to go in there, sustain either not getting beat or get out a victory. You know, kid, I got older. You know, I'm a businessman, but it doesn't stop me from being a dangerous man. That's a completely different one. One thing that Dana told Coach Freddie, right? Because they talked about me one time, and Dana says I'm top 3 best in a loss to be able to take those victories. And you think about it, how do you get 12 consecutive victories without a title? You're bouncing back from a loss. Those are, you know what I mean? That's consolation rounds. But without a title shot, I mean, come on now, bro.
React to that, considering your history with that belt, and you know, for all the years that it eluded you. How did that make you feel?
I don't know how to make the UFC feel. That's what I want to know. Was it a joke? Was it a kind of taunt? Lee Abdelaziz, man. You know, runs the guy's Twitter account, and he's swearing for Khabib. He's Muslim, dude. He don't swear.
Do you feel like that fight is actually going to happen at some point? Like, you haven't given up?
I grapple with one of, like, the heaviest pressure grapplers out there. Khabib is like pressured in like one of the aspects, you know. But as far as like on the ground, I believe Oliveira is better than Khabib. I'm gonna be real. And I went out there with 5 fucking. Most of them are gold. Not all of them are gold, but the right ones are. And I got rings to back it up too. So when I put it together and I put my reps in, and I talk to my coaches like Brock, you know, Brock's like, hey, so do you understand now the difference between chicken salad?
How much has that contributed to this mood that you're in?
It's awesome, dude. I'm gonna be real. I haven't had a kitchen since December. I remodeled my kitchen, and that was before my fight. And so I had a lot of interruptions last year. That I was really, really trying.
That interested you?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes down to it, I have like zero animosity from these guys and these characters that are in this industry. But we love the banter. We love the shit. I just like fighting. Very proud to be one. I'm American as well. And I go out there and I represent them. So you know what I'm talking about.
And Tony, you just turned 37. Have you thought about how many more years you want to do this for?
Oh man, 10 more. I was at first, and he said Tony, and he said my elbows, and and he called me champ, and I called him champ, and it was the coolest thing. So it was like, there's no, for somebody to call somebody else champ, especially when they're champ.
Out there, I really appreciate y'all. And so while I wait for Candace to jump on here, if you got some super chats, I'm gonna answer them now. And then when Candace and I are talking, you feel free to super chat or ask questions. And then I'm gonna leave a little slides. We're gonna talk about what's going on in America. I want to talk about her new book. I call it new, but hundreds of thousands of y'all already got the book. But we're gonna talk about a book, her new show called Candace on the Daily Wire, which is phenomenal. It's great. It looks like it's smooth. So I'm gonna bring you back in. So let's see. Let me bring Candace back in. All right, Candace, there you go.
There we go. I'm sorry about that. I just switched to my laptop, so I'm sorry it looks a bit grainier.
Candace, how much I appreciate you coming on to the interview. How much I appreciate what you do for the cause. But I want you to talk to people about just a little bit right up front about your book, because your book has been killing. I mean, you was over Barack Obama at one point and probably
500,000 copies, which is incredible. And the reason why I wrote Blackout was because there were so many lies out in the media about me and who I am and where my heart is. And I know that there are so many Black conservatives like you want Black Americans and all Americans to be ignorant, because an ignorant population is the easiest to control, because ignorance breeds emotion. And what I mean by that is, if you look at a toddler, hey, we both just had a baby, right?
Yeah.
When you have a baby, you don't have the etiquette, they don't have the experience or the knowledge. And as people age, you no longer, it's not appropriate, for us to throw temper tantrums, because we understand things more. What's happening right now in America is they're trying to create a system where everybody's ignorant.
And how they treat you and how respectful they are and how everything is just real, it's professional. So I want you to tell my audience a little bit about your show, because people may not have seen it, or they may not know how to gain access to it. So tell God dang, I would hate to be on that side of Candace, but can you talk a little bit about like why you go so hard on Twitter? Like what's your motivation, and how effective do you think that your Twitter is? And even though I turned it off, it's still making little tick noises. But with the climate that's going on today, with George Floyd's and the rioting and protesting, what is your thoughts on the condition? Is that I'm gonna provide a value or a good to you, and as many people as I can to change your life, and then I will be compensated in return. Marxism is that, no, I'm gonna trick you and play on your heartstrings so you can give to a nonprofit organization. I'm gonna take all that money and I'm gonna be rich, and then when he's probably gonna be a multimillionaire on the back of these dead brothers. I mean, Candace, what do you think about what they're teaching our young brothers, specifically our young Black brothers? Because we keep seeing time and time again resisting a directive on what is happening to our young Black men that put them in these predicaments.
It's interesting, because I find that the longer that I stay in this realm, the less compassionate I am somehow, because it gives them attention. So they are willing to compromise their entire futures for a little bit of false attention. And I say false attention because her standing up there saying, I'm never going to be nothing. I used to have a friend, Devin, who used to say to me, if you believe that
a response from me, or he was disagreeing with me, but he was like, well, it's not that simple to tell people to stop using drugs and stop selling drugs and committing crimes. It's just not that simple. If they stop doing that, then the police will not be in their communities. And I was like, it is that simple, because you're not collectively holding on.
Bitter to men who then become the teachers of feminism and teach you that no matter what, it's the patriarchy that's keeping you behind. And that creates a toxic situation, because there's no society, I've said 1,000 times, that can survive without strong men. There just isn't. There isn't. I mean, there's never been a time. It's happening because there's another country that's influencing America and wants to cripple it from the inside out. It's a different day. What I mean by that is that you cannot just invade a country the old school way, right? If you want to invade America, you can't just be like, I'm just going to throw a bomb and roll in some tree, look like a fool. We had a blue-haired girl, right? Next to our Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, and China was just talking to us, saying, like, basically, you're not a world power anymore, right? We're the big dogs now. And people are not paying attention.
Lleva toda la tarde preparando eso para Cugullo.
No, ya está un iceberg negro.
Pero yo no sé si eso cuela eso.
Un iceberg negro es complicado.
Yo no sé, a mí no me. Yo no soy muy supersticioso, pero tengo detallitos, Aquello de pasar debajo del andamio no paso, y esas cosas, pero. Tocar la copa. tocar la copa. Bueno, pero ahí está la alineación del Real Madrid en el Liverpool. ¿Quién juega, Kim?
Hola, muy buenas tardes. En el Liverpool 2 cambios importantes en el 11 de Jürgen Klopp. Se queda fuera Diego Jota, entra Firmino y también Keita, entra Milner. Así el 11 queda con Alisson en la portería, Alexander-Arnold, Kabak, Phillips y Robertson en defensa, Fabinho, Milner y Wijnaldum en el centro del campo. Arriba Mané,
por ir 0-0 en el marcador todavía. Yo creo que ha tenido 3 muy claras el Liverpool para estar por delante en el marcador ya.
De acuerdo.
Adiós no,
en el fútbol
adiós
se
no
trata
a Courtois.
De meter las que tienes.
Pero Courtois juega, ¿no?
Y Courtois
Valverde. Bajándola con el pecho, el pajarito, el envío largo, imposible para Vinicius, pero el rechace le va a caer a Mendy. Presionado por Mo Salah, que viene a tocar en diagonal, adelantando metros para Luka Modric. En el exterior.